Well, today's episode is going to be a fun one. If you guys are big fans of Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, you're in luck. The entire episode is from the recent events that took place this month. The first one is from a called Songs and Women's Pro Wrestling in the Midwinter Outdoors. So basically, it's a very interesting event. So I'll get to that when we get through it. And then, of course, as you know, DDT in the past have done wrestling matches on a train, which is the Shinkansen bullet train. Well, now it's Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, the duo. So we only have like one match involving that. So that's going to be a lot of fun to take a look at. And then, of course, we move on to Winter Fes West that took place in Osaka. So all of this is going to be fun and exciting. I can't wait. And then, of course, we cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, well, we can do one on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been neatly said. I believe it's time to get this show on the road and begin with our very first review coming from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. As I said, the entire episode is all about the recent events. So let's begin with the first one with TJPW with Yaon songs and women's pro wrestling in the Midwinter Outdoors. Okay, the first review coming from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. This one's called the TJP Yaon Songs Women and Women's Pro Wrestling in the Midwinter Outdoors. Now, this happened recently on the 11th of February, but it was not broadcast on Wrestle Universe until the 14th of February, which was Valentine's Day. So practically, this is what happened. Of course, like always, we have Sayuri Namba coming out to greet the fans, do the info and all that. But however, as soon as everyone was done, many of you know this. Of course, the Up girls normally would open up the show. However, they decided to give certain of the girls who actually have their theme song sang by them to do their songs. First up, of course, the members of the Up girls individually, like Ura Takami, Shino Suzuki, Raku and Miyu Watanabe. But they had other girls who also sang their own themes, such as, of course, Wakana Uehara, Yuki Aino, Rika Tatsumi. Maki Ito was not involved in this, in case anybody asked. Yeah, so basically, there's the girls who actually had their own theme songs and they sing them themselves. I mean, I know Yuki Aino wrote the song to her theme song, the same thing what she did with her sister, known as the Bakuratsu sister. So basically, there was that. So it makes a lot of sense. So, but if you guys are curious, Rika Tatsumi sang her song playing the guitar. So I saw this personally, so it's kind of interesting to watch this. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that. But it was great. It was a great opener. But let's get to the matches. Our first match, we have Chika Nanaze taking on Arisu Endo. Now, nothing too special about this, but I'm sure Arisu Endo is determined to build up momentum before her match at Grand Princess to take on Suzumi for the International Princess title. Uh, Endo won by applying the camel clutch on Nanaze, and just like that, Nanaze had no choice but to tap. Our next match, we have an interesting six-woman tag match. We have Kaya Toribami, Shozuki Asagawa, and Haruna Neko taking on Mifu Ashida, Toga, and Yuki Kamefuku. Now, I wasn't too sure how this was going to go in every way. I mean, look, you look at some wrestlers do have some strengths. I mean, Yuki Kamifuku is one of those wrestlers that could pull off a win, but in the end, it was Kaya Toribami who picked up the win by applying a submission on Mifu Ashida, and of course, Ashida had no choice but to tap. So just like that, Toribami, Hasegawa, and Neko actually won the match. Our next match, we had a bit of a three-way. We have Kira Summer versus the apologetic Miho Kiru, and of course our current international princess champion Suzumi. So you probably can guess that certain aspects how this is gonna play out. I mean, look, we know my Miho Kiru is a bit of apologetic of the things she's about to do, but it was Suzumi who picked up the win on Kira Summer when she applied the ring a bell, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up, we have tag team match, and we have Haru Kazashido versus Shoko Nakajima. They take on Jada Stone and Mizuki. So interesting developments on that match. I wasn't too sure how this was going to go either way because Mizuki, as you know, she is also building up momentum to face Rika Tatsumi to defend her championship. But it was Jada Stone that applied a cartwheeled or a cartwheel cutter onto Haru, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now for a main event, this one's a very interesting one. We got all members of the Up Girls, Udatakami, Shino Suzuki, Raku, and Miyu Watanabe. They team up with the resident superhero, Hyper Masao. They take on Wakana Uehara, Palma Juku, Max the Impaler, Yuki Aino, and of course, Rika Tatsumi. Now, of course, the one thing that is the biggest factor here is Max the Impaler. She will devour people no matter what. So that kind of plays out. But it was, of course, Rika Tatsumi who picked up the win with the Dragon Sleeper onto Shino Suzuki, and just like that, it was over. However, the event doesn't end because, as I said before, we normally would see the Up Girls be part of the opening of the show where they sing whatever song they're supposed to play. Well, they actually perform Up Kicker, which is one of their most popular songs that they play live. And of course, everybody, with the exception of Max, who was just standing there like, oh, I don't want to do this shit. So she was like standing on the other side right there because she's not into that. So all the other girls were singing along and dancing to Up Kicker. So I thought it was a pretty good ending, like it's somewhat of a celebration. But it was a fun show, so I'm not gonna lie about. I enjoyed it. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's just end it here and move on to their next show. This one I think is one you don't want to miss out. It's the Shinkansen Joshi Pro Wrestling. Okay, we continue with more with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, and this time we got the Shinkansen Joshi Pro Wrestling. Now, those who are not familiarized this, now if you guys ever seen DDT Pro Wrestling, you ever seen they have some of the most interesting events ever. Not only in their venue where they have a wrestling ring, where they have matches where they're not normally a traditional way. They have matches in boats, saunas, water parks, the streets, wherever. But one of my absolute favorites from DDT is when they're wrestling in a train. Now, I think I know what some of you are thinking just now. For real, J Rod? They wrestle in trains, yes. Now, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling and DDT are part of the same company. They're both were founded by Shinjiro Tagagi, in case anybody asks. So yes, he goes back and forth, running operations with both promotions. But however, Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling has never involved themselves in what DDT does unless if they're very interested. I have seen when DDT were doing their New Year's thing, when I started watching them, they did an event in one of my earlier videos. They were doing wrestling matches in the streets of Tokyo, different locations. I did see Yakasaki uh, prowling the street. She runs in with Miyu Yamashita, Maki Ito, formerly Marika Kobashi, and a few others. They were just wrestling in the streets. That was about it. But they never did other things like what DDT done. A couple years ago, they actually did a wrestling event in some like a water theme park or something. This was the same one that I saw with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling getting themselves involved. I thought it was a pretty good show, but not all of the girls were involved. Some of them were not too keen on the idea, but it was a fun show. But now they're stepping into the same type of matches that. Oh yeah, and they did Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling did had a wrestling match at an aquarium, and I saw that and I reviewed it. But this one with the train, that is something I did not want to miss. But I also want to point out whenever DDT does events on the train, Raku, if you guys know this or not, she's a big fan of trains. She loves trains. She even posts on her blog the train of the day, that sort of thing. And she actually did some training with the Shinkansen train with one of those simulations. There's videos of that. So yeah. And now, but instead of her being commentator, she along with um Miyu Watanabe and a few others, they just participate in a wrestling match. Now, this is the type of, but of course, let me get to the show. It opened up, but of course, as usual, we have Sayuri Namba opening up the show. Then, of course, the boss himself, Shinjiro Tagagi, showed up. I don't know what he said. And then, of course, the Up girls did their usual opening theme. They perform Up Kicker, and just like that. But the match they had was a false count anywhere. It's an 8-woman tag match. We have team number 1, Aja Kong, Raku, Miyu Watanabe, and Mizuki. They take on Max the Impaler, Yuki Arai, and of course Maki Ito and Miyu Yamashita. So basically, you saw it was a pretty interesting line. Basically, it's just a straight line. So basically, one of each have to be in the middle of the ring, and then they tag out. But in every stop, they always have someone to make an appearance. And guess who showed up? Murder Grandpa showed up. That's right, Minoru Suzuki. And guess what he was doing? Checking tickets. I thought it was so hilarious. I'm like, really? This guy devours people for a living, and he checks tickets? I'm like, well, that'll be the day that I'll be saying, Jesus, he probably wouldn't soften up for anybody. But I thought it was great. But however, the match continued, of course. But it was Miyu Yamashita who picked up the win when she did a running knee strike onto Raku, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. I thought the show was great, despite the fact that they were riding like about maybe 2 hours or so, but it was great. People had a great time. But if I recommend you guys should watch it, check it out. I mean, check out the DDT ones before. If you guys want me to give you the names of the shows involving trains, just leave a comment down below and I'll see if I can reply to you to find out which ones you check out. There is one I did like from DDT, but seeing Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling now stepping into the same threshold as them, well, it's very. But apparently there was a clip that they actually revealed. Now, those who know, DDT has this a belt called the Ironman Heavymetalweight Championship. Basically, it's like the 24/7 belt, but much cooler. So basically, you can win it anywhere, however you want. The winner can also be an object or a person. So this guy named Tetsu Inaba was the champion, but Raku pinned him at the show in the Shinkansen, and just like that, she became the new champion. So it was pretty much hilarious. So she became the champion just like that. But however, that doesn't end there. That involves on the next one we're going to be reviewing. So you'll be enjoying it. So let's move into the next Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling show. Okay, final review. We continue with more with Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling with the 2025 Winter Fest West. It took place on the 15th. Same time as they did with the Shinkansen event. So that's pretty much it. And it was in Osaka. They actually had the venue at the Azalea Taisho Hall, which of course I did a review when Sendai girls were doing a show over there. But yeah, as usual, we have Sayuri Yamba doing the opening, uh, Up girls performing, but they were not playing Up Kicker in case anybody asked. But no, so let's get started with the matches. First match, we have Chika Nanaze taking on Moka Miyamoto. Nothing too keen or special about it, but Moka, who has been, rising to the occasion, has developed her skills. She applied a Cobra Clutch onto Nanaze. And of course, Nanaze had no choice but to tap. Next up, we have a three-way. We have Ura Takami versus Haritsu Endo versus Palm Harajuku. Nothing too special, but however, if anybody pins Palm Harajuku, they get a shot of the her title, all set, setup all Asian women's title. So anyway, Takumi or Arisu Endo could have picked up the one. Well, mostly it would have been Arisu Endo, but however, this match ended very interesting. Arisu Endo had Takumi in a camel clutch, but um, Palm applied a palm the justice on to Endo, but however she turned her attention to Takumi, and just like that she applied another palm the justice on her, and then of course 1, 2, 3, it was over. Next up we have Shino Suzuki versus Yoshiko Hasegawa and Yuki Aino. No, Shino Suzuki, Yoshiko Hasegawa, and Yuki Aino. They take on Ivy Steels, Kira Summer, and Yuki Kamifuku. So I wasn't too sure where this is going to go, but I was viewing this that Ivy and Kira most likely have the leaser experience in this. But it was in fact Ivy Aino Yuki Aino who picked up the good win when she applied like a somewhat modified on the ground full Nelson lock on Ivy Steele. She had her like in that same position, and she was on the ground, and of course Ivy had no choice but to tap, and just like that it was over. Excuse me. Now, our next match we have Mifu Ashida and Toga taking on Haru Kazushiro and Zuzumi. Now, of course, Zuzumi, as you know, she is the international champion. Most likely she could pick up the win because you look at some of the girls, they do have a bit more lesser experience than her, and that kind of plays out. But it was Zuzumi who walked away with the win when she applied a ring the bell onto Ashida, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Our next match, we have Aruna Neko and apologetic Mahiro Kiru. They take on Hyper Misawa and Shoko Nakajima. Now, those who know this, that Hyper Misawa is a bit of the resident superhero, but she does gets dirty, like cutting corners. She was using a cold spray in this fact, and then she tied Mahiro up in the corner by using her cape of all things. But however, it was Masao who picked up the win by pinning Neko, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Next up, we have Kaya Taribami and Jada Stone taking on Wakana Uehara and Rika Tatsumi. Now, of course, the back of my mind would have thought that Rika Tatsumi would have picked up the win because she is one of the most popular girls, and she likes to do things a little differently. but it was Kaya Toribami who impressed me when she applied a springboard moonsault onto Wakana, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now our main event is a very interesting one. This is it for the DDT Ironman Heavymetalweight Championship in a 8-woman tag match. Now, however, Raku is the champion, so that means anybody can pin her, even her own teammates, in case anybody asks. Yes, it's been done before. I've seen it countless times. That means she is not safe. But however, I would have assumed in the back of my mind that Maxine Paley probably would have won that belt. I mean, she's always at after championship, which was obvious. But however, it was Rina Miyu Yamashita who picked up the win when she applied the skull kicker onto her face on Raku, and just like that, she picked up the win, became the new DDT Ironman Heavy Metalweight champion. But however, well, like any other match, her own teammates, Maki and of course Yuki Arai, were trying to pin her. I mean, come on, Yamashita. Hiramo had to learn a lesson. He should have known that he was going to be a target. If you won a title like this, run like hell. Well, you thought it was over when she won the title. Well, it wasn't. She went to the back and she got hit by a rocket punch that was part of Mekamami, but it was Shinjiro Tagagi. So the rocket punch actually pinned her after knocking her out and became the champion. And then the former champion, Tetsu Inaba, pinned the rocket punch, and just like that, he regained the belt. I'm like, oh my god, this is a never-ending story. So this is gonna be fun. So pretty much that that's what happened. So so you probably would enjoy that type of thing. So for right now, we'll end things here, and let's move on with our last and final thing: news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with the upcoming events. We have 2 of them so far. The first one, this one's a very interesting one. I think many of you will be surprised. It was announced that CML will have their next Arena Mexico event taking place this month on the 28th. However, they announced that Konosuke Takeshita, our current AEW International Champion and the Never Openweight Champion, will be making his appearance. So basically, he is now everywhere. I mean, not only in DDT, but also in New Japan, AEW, possibly Ring of Honor, and of course now CML. So he's everywhere appearing. So it would be long until he makes his presence known in Rev Pro, which will be obvious. And then finally, as you know, we have the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, the Canadian promotion, Mayhem, that will take place on the 14th and 15th of March in Ontario. They just announced, and this guy, he's a bit of annoying, Johnny Swinger. Yeah, he thinks he's still in the 70s or 80s. So yeah, he's involved in that. Now for our developments. Many of you just saw that I reviewed TNA this past Thursday. Well, you saw that Elijah made his appearance, formerly known as Elias. Well, now Fightful Select has reported he is currently now a new signee with TNA, so he is now fully with TNA. So I'm very happy to hear that. Fightful Select also reports that Carmella is no longer under WWE contract. There has been talk about her release, so it looks like she's officially done. We don't know what's next to her. I know that she's been out for a while since she was on maternity leave. Her husband Corey Graves has been, of course, commentary, but we don't know much what else. Recently, as you know, during the weekends, TNA do some tapings, and they just announced that it was announced by someone that revealed that man like Dereiss has made his debut on the TNA tapings. So we know that WWE are interested in him, but we'll see what happens from there on. Now, finally, many of you know this person who are just fans of the Joshi wrestling scene. Kouki Amarie, as you know, she injured herself early this year. She was going to be gone for about a few months. She made her appearance recently in a Mighty Gold event, and she was on commentary. So she revealed that she will be making her return possibly on the 24th of May. However, she has been consulting with her doctor about it, and also have a speaking with her trainer to train herself for that day. Now, keep in mind, Kouki Amarie is also the current GHC Women's Champion. Now, by default, if they were unable to defend that belt within 6 months, have no choice but to vacate the belt. But so far, no one has said anything about that. She did say she wasn't gonna drop the belt or anything. So we'll see what happens from here on out. So let's just move on from that. But for now, we are officially done with all the reviews and our updates. So let's just call it a day. Okay, so I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you probably can guess, we have AEW Collision. So basically, um, we'll see what happens from here on out. So I haven't decided if there's any other events I want to review. There's one. We know there's some recent Mighty Gold event and also a Stardom event. I highly doubt I may see them right now or probably a little later, but we'll see. There is a Mighty Gold event that took place on the 20th. I haven't reviewed that. I was considering maybe using that on the next episode, but we'll see how my timing will go. But if not, then I apologize. Stay tuned also. I have a special announcement for all of you guys, and I think this is one you don't want to miss out. So for right now, I'll say this, that I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang!